So this will include the approval of September 25th city council meeting minutes and along with claim ordinance A01-0923. That will be the consent agenda for today.
On that meeting for like 25-30 minutes, does it matter? I mean, we didn't vote on anything.
That your name's not here.
I mean, it says I'm absent for probably 85% of the meeting.
I think it counts. Let's put her on and let's make a change.
You need to know like when I logged on and when I logged off.
It only showed on my end that you were on for like a short second, so that's weird that you were on it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I was almost to Wilton and then I got.
It like showed
I
that
got
you were
on.
on and then you were gone. That's weird.
We can.
I'll put you on there. That's
Okay.
not a big
I mean,
deal.
I can tell you two the times I could.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I'll just put the sugar there.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second that. Councilor Scritchfield has made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Councilor Bernard has seconded that motion. Any discussion, any debate? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We've just approved the consent agenda. Next item, petitions and delegations. The general public can have 5 minutes. If you would approach the podium and let us know your name and whether you're a city of Ellsworth resident. Would anybody like to speak to the council about anything other than the park? Since we already covered that subject thoroughly for months. No one? Okay. All right, moving on. Unfinished business, ordinance 3139, that is agenda item report 23-300. Dustin, you want to tell us a little about it?
Yeah, let me get there. There's. Ordinance 3139 is the vacation, is that correct,
Mhm.
Kelly?
Okay.
Yeah, city council at the previous meeting, the guidance I got from it is that you wanted Melissa to go ahead and build, the ordinance acknowledging the vacation of the parking lot between Casey's and the, steakhouse. And this is just the ordinance to finalize that decision.
So do we have to vote to approve the ordinance? I'm sure we do, right, Melissa?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I had was, do we have to say how the property is dispersed?
So that direction is what they wanted at the register of deeds and the appraiser's office. Basically, I don't know that you have to, so you can take it out if you're not comfortable with putting that in there.
In this
They'll let
case,
us file it, but,
in this case, I don't think it's gonna make any difference.
right,
They're gonna own both sides anyway.
right.
It could make a difference in future actions. For the street, I think it's a little clearer, unless I didn't.
You can strike that if you want, I mean.
Is it 3138?
It's 3139, that will have to be an amendment to the original.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 3139. Oh, 3139.
It's 3139, so
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance 3139.
Second. Council Renard has made a motion to approve ordinance 3139. Councilor Johnson has seconded that motion. Any discussion, debate, concerns over this? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next item on the agenda. New business, approval of the special CMB license for the National Drovers Hall of Fame. Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Appreciate it.
They applied
Good to hear.
for a special CMB for their event here, because their CMB that they currently have cannot be used at the city hall for their event, so they applied for a special CMB.
They get their insurance.
City council, I have not gotten any communication since the last meeting.
So the license.
So Ron, has Ron reported to you any more communication regarding? the
No,
floors?
Ron has not. Drew Richard did come in and he's in the process of getting their insurance, but I have not seen the actual proof of insurance yet.
2 weeks to the event? Correct?
Yeah.
I do not feel comfortable without all of your needs being met, approving this, but we still felt we were obligated to, I still felt we were obligated to.
Because if it were not approved tonight, then they wouldn't necessarily have it for the event, or we would have to do a special meeting to approve it. If you were to say they could have a CB license.
Well, more likely that we approve a contingent on.
That's what I'm
But they
saying.
have to.
Right, that's why I
We
thought.
can approve it, and then you still can't have the event if they don't have the insurance.
Correct.
However you wanna do it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the CNB, like, special CNB license for drovers. With the condition that they acquire the insurance before they have it done.
Mr. May I also request regarding all of the other stipulations that council requested, the flooring approved by Ron, and all of it, if you don't mind.
Okay, so my thing, we had this conversation the other day with Ronnie, was he said, so you guys want him to see the floor in the gym, right? Before he allows them to have the event, or you want him to, them to prove the floor,
I think he can, the material, I think he can approve.
like,
So with his
because
approval.
he was kind of asking about that. and I
I
don't
don't
know.
think he's gonna sign on the floor.
He's got to just see the material,
See
with the
what they're
approval
gonna
of
use.
Ron's
Okay.
approval of the material.
That's what I thought too.
Okay. I trust Ron's judgment.
We got a motion.
I'll second that.
All right, Councilor Scritfield has made a motion to approve the special CMB license for the National Drovers Hall of Fame contingent upon getting business insurance and contingent upon the approval of materials by the Recreation Department head, Ronnie. And Councilor Renard has seconded that motion. Any concerns, debate? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Okay. Next item, the utilization of nanny for city projects.
Mr. Mayor, you waiting for me, good sir?
Yes.
All right, sorry, I just didn't want to be, over the last 60 days, I asked Nannyscaping, if Kate, if you want to come up with your partner. I have asked them to, I asked them to use their herd on Krizik Park first. I had now learned it's a really tall order. While I know that, I personally am happy with the results, I don't know that I would use them on Krizik Park again, because there's just if they didn't like certain things, but, based on the results that I have seen, like, you know, they did clear out all of the poison ivy, poison oak around where the waterways are at. And they did do a pretty good job of clearing out the lake, so that when Troy went through it, he did have a much easier time clearing that out. I just want you to know I'm happy with the results that you've done. I would request council's permission to continue to utilize them, for property, I would like to use them for property mitigation specifically to give Delvin more tools to use to. And also we'd save money on gas and, food and other things that you sign on bills with Kip Russell's services, that would mitigate a lot of them, especially on properties that require mitigation in the spring. And it'd be a lot cheaper than utilizing someone with the equipment, gas and fuel and time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, we're also increasing our herd within the next spring too, so some of the projects will not take as long. We've already doubled in 10 this fall, so when more babies are born this spring, we'll hopefully double even more. So projects won't take as long.
Would you be willing to honor the same rate? And I know there is a
I can't
contract,
guarantee that right now.
Part of it will depend on how our kidding season goes, so if we can have a good successful kidding season, we'll be able to honor that. If our season goes pretty poorly, like it did our first year, we lost almost half, so it'll kind of. We'll be able to give you that answer probably by the first of May.
We're kind of done with also for the year because fall's setting on pretty hard after it froze here this weekend. So we wouldn't be able to start up again until next spring. We could also look at that again.
Yeah.
And come to agreement on something then.
Yeah.
At that time of need, I guess.
A large part of it will be how our winter, how the kidding goes, because our first year we kidded out, we had a very rough year, and then this last year was very productive for us, so.
then before we go into contract, I will need to meet with you again and present the contract to council before spring. So let's meet before then. But thank you very much,
Yeah.
council. And
We can look at maybe
Yeah.
May, because we usually start the 1st of June, so if we make a time to start talking in May.
Yeah, I think your time is worthwhile. I think once again, you know, we're trying some inexpensive things to mitigate the park and just see what happens. I mean, it was worth it. I mean, I think it was entertaining for people. They liked it. And, you know, I mean, actually, it was entertaining, you know, so I think we saw what plants they liked, which ones they didn't like, and kind of gave us an idea of what, but you'd need probably 10 times the herd, you know, that love those plants to really mow that thing down. But
Well, I think like the cattail and stuff, we did a little research on it. Once they're over a certain height, the goats won't eat them because they're no longer sweet and like tender.
yeah,
So I think there was a lot of things like that we learned from just like okay, it says that they eat this plant, but they really
Right.
don't eat it after a certain amount of years, so.
right,
They do have a very friendly dog.
yeah.
Come visit your dog. They come in the garage and sit down and play.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
thank you, city
What
council.
kind of music do they like?
So the next item is this is a big one. This is the 2023 Seed Clip Surface Preservation Project. Dustin, it's AIR 23-302. Want to go ahead and provide some background?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've asked John and Josh from, just in case I needed help with, the explanation of this, I think. And I also asked Angela, and Callie also, or Angela also looked over this. So, Kirk and Michael, did do the bid. We only got one bid from APAC, as you see in your packet. The total $723,307.55. Approximately city out of pocket expenses would be $185,000. We could possibly make that. The problem is, and Angela checked our stuff, we can't afford $723,000. KDOT, correct me if I'm wrong in any of my facts. But Kansas Department of Transportation expects us to pay all of that up front, and then we request for reimbursement. And Angela and we just simply don't have that to pay them in full. So the only other option that we can see at this point is doing a short-term bond, was what we discussed. And with that short-term bond, that bond would pay KDOT for our share for the project, and then we would pay we would pay the bond back as soon as we got the reimbursement from KDOT. Did I get that right, Josh and John?
Yeah, except it's not, we don't pay upfront the 700,000.
Right, you pay that during construction, but you have to pay all,
Incrementally.
right,
Okay,
but you can't request reimbursement until the project's been approved by KDOT. So you would have to be out of that $720,000.
So no incremental pay request is one at the end. Right?
You'll pay the contractor incrementally, but you won't be able to request reimbursement. You can only request reimbursement after the project's been approved by KDOT.
Okay.
So you will have to have the full really it's 780 with the construction engineering, in there as well, or 785, somewhere around there. So you will have to have that money available when you request reimbursement. I did clarify that with, Jimmy Egg and KDOT.
That's different than a lot of the programs.
Right, yeah, there are other programs where you can request reimbursement incrementally, but this particular one, they do not.
And I talked to Kevin Cowan today and it was no big deal for us to get that to them.
so I will have to amend my numbers and I apologize. I put the original numbers you put in your email, 723, so it has to be closer to 790.
Well, I think you had it in there, it was 723, and then there's 62,000
62 for the-
for construction
All right.
engineering, which you guys have signed an agreement with us for that already, so there's no need to approve anything on that end right now, but just know that that would be part of the cost that you would be.
Right.
It's something we would have to include in if we're gonna ask, we're gonna approve you to get a short term.
That's correct. Thanks for coming to help me clarify that.
Yeah.
We haven't really had any, I would like that.
No. Well, you know, my view, this is something we have to do every once in a while. I mean, asphalt maintenance on our main street is just something we have to do incrementally. This is not getting cheaper. I mean, it's just not. It's taken a huge jump this year. Only getting one bidder is concerning because kind of the nature of what's going on right now in the industry. APAC all the bids on the asphalt with Wayne County. Of course, they're on their whole operation is in the middle of Wayne County, so. Is this our highway division or is this APAC over at Salina?
For, I assume it's. They listed on there. I read what
This year's division, so it's well, they're the same, but yeah, it would be there. Anyway. Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, the bid is good for 60 days, and you guys need some time to figure out the bonding or how you want to end up paying for this, if you decide to go forward with it. KDOT will need to issue an authority to award the project, so right now, KDOT just needs to know sometime in the future, if you intend to go forward with the project, then they will issue the authority to award. And then I will send or bring a notice of award to award the project to our owner bidder, APAC. Decide to go that route.
One thing I'd like in the future is things like this that have planned, have those included. I was just kind of wondering where the concrete and the curb and gutter were.
Yeah, I can tell you, I mean, I got the plans here too, if you want to look at them. What concrete are you referring to? There's concrete valley gutters going in 4th Street. So at 4th Street, at that intersection, we're replacing all of the sidewalk ramps. those had to be improved for ADA. To meet ADA requirements there for the ones crossing the highway. Those corners are all kind of one ramp that takes up the whole curve return. So we're replacing all of those. When we met out there at Field Shack, Troy and I don't know, Dustin,
I was
we were
there.
down that part at that time, you had to take off a little bit early. We discussed there was some drainage issues that right at the Fourth Street intersection, especially on the east side, it kind of holds water right at that sidewalk ramp. So we elected to include valve gutters across it to replace some of that brick pavement that's kind of got a high spot in it. There's some asphalt that's been overlaid over top of it, so it just doesn't drain real well. We elected to include that in here to help fix that drainage issue. So that's what that concrete pavement.
Smooth crosswalk, be on that concrete.
It will be,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. So that was a fairly, one of the higher costs, if you're looking at what we kind of thought it might cost and what they did there. That could be, I guess, removed if you really wanted to, but I think it would make a nice improvement, especially for people walking. Kids to school and whatnot, anytime it rains, it holds water for a day or two before it dries up or gets rid of it.
It's the cleanest way to do it, the compliance on that too, on that crossing. Yeah, that intersection always does hold water.
The other thing that we have in there is the adjustment of the water valves and manholes. Some of the concrete around, those manholes and water valves is getting pretty broke up, so. We elected to, replace all of that concrete and kind of redo the concrete around those valves and manholes as well as part of the project. So that's included in the adjustment. of the Manhole and water valve, yeah.
I think Justin, you just want to authorize you to move forward. Okay, Dr. we're gonna go forward with the project and all that.
Yes, if that's what you want to do, and then bonding, you want us to bring that back to you later, correct?
Not the one way you're gonna get it done, right?
Yes, bonding's the only way we can financially get it done. So if you're willing to let me do it from together.
It's until next year. Yeah, and all the, I think they put down May of 2024 is when it plans to start construction.
He said we could secure those funds fairly quickly, so he wasn't concerned about the timing.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we authorize the city administrator to inform KDOT that we are intending to go forward with the project and to seek bond funding for the project.
1 second. Council Scritchfield has made a motion to allow the city administrator to communicate with KDOT. We plan to move forward with the service preservation and to seek a bond, and to communicate with KDOT those facts. Councilor Johnson has seconded that motion. Any cause for concern, issues? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. You can go out and seek funding for that project.
Beautiful. Thank you, City Council. Thank you, Josh. Thanks, John.
All right, the tree height dilemma, request for council guidance on tree height dilemma. You want to explain this to us? Conflict in the ordinance, we just need to make a decision, right?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, currently, when we were hoping, we are working with the school district. And then that led to our snow routes, and Steve and I and Delvin were looking, and Melissa were looking at the ordinances, and there is a conflict. At one part of the ordinance at 12.28.010, which is enacted in 2000, stipulates height limits for trees in residential streets at 12 feet and arterial streets at 14. On the other hand, ordinance 12.08.080-8 dated 2015 outlines a uniform standard of 9 feet over sidewalks and 14 feet over any streets. I am requesting guidance to just set it at a standard 14 feet.
Pretty reasonable.
Over streets or over sidewalks too?
Streets mainly. Because one specifies 12 feet above street level and the other specifies 14, and this would make it just 14.
Regardless.
Yeah.
You know, leave it high over the sidewalk. Yeah. So we can get it, can start on the sidewalk.
The ordinance example is for the 14-foot over the street option. In case you wanted to go the other route.
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend setting the height to 14 feet to resolve the issue as per the enclosed ordinance.
I'll second.
Councilor Bernard has made a motion to raise the tree height to 14 feet. And Councilor Coates has seconded that motion to create uniformity between the ordinances. Any issues, concerns? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. The tree height over the street will be 14 feet and all of our ordinances moving forward. I think Jessica, this is yours, correct? DVAC presentation?
Well,
It's not, but it can be.
it's mine. I just, Mr. Mayor, permission to.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. It's not hers, it was just, I was just, when I was searching their website to get some background information to introduce them to council, I just saw that she was on the board and I was like, cool. Mary Cookson, and if you wanna come on up, and your staff and we had a discussion a while back. I asked them to come present to council. I do know that October is Domestic Violence Month. And Kelly, do you know when is I'll talk to you. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, based out of Salina. They're a nonprofit organization. They provide comprehensive support services to survivors of domestic and sexual violence, stalking, teen dating violence, elder abuse, and human trafficking. I've provided a list of some things I stole from their website just to show all the cool stuff they do. I am interested in exploring a partnership with them just to provide additional resources for our residents, especially residents who encounter this sort of trauma, just to have additional help. So, and I asked him to come speak.
So, as spoken earlier, DVAC provides inclusive services, supportive services for victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, including sexual harassment, human trafficking, whether that be sex trafficking and or labor trafficking, stalking, teen dating violence, and elder abuse. Not only do we provide advocacy services to victims or survivors of those things, we also provide a wide array of presentations, educational, whether that is in schools, whether that is in churches, whether that is in any kind of group setting, even if it's just a one person, if we can reach that one person, we've done our job. We also celebrate and put information together for awareness months. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we do a lot of different proclamations. We do a lot of trying to let citizens in our 10 counties know what domestic violence is, what to look for, as well as how to support somebody who may be going through this, because we've found also that people that are supporting someone who is going through domestic violence frequently is also victimized in a sense. So providing those supportive services is what we do, but we also have things like a 24-hour hotline, a safe shelter that is available for men, women, children, and pets, which 50% of people will not leave without their pets. However, only 10% of domestic violence shelters throughout the United States have that capacity. So having those resources available for citizens in your community can be very valuable when they're, maybe have gone through something. Maybe they actually faced victimization as a child and now as an adult are processing through that, trying to figure out how to heal. So we provide services to those individuals also, and we provide services from children who have experienced domestic violence and with their families, clear to a youth program that does a lot more of like a mentorship with teen dating violence, a lot of education on that and consent. And is somebody that can do activities, be another trusted adult in their lives. To my specific areas campus, so I serve 2 campuses in Salina and provide educational services, advocacy services, all the things. And then to adults, so we have safe support groups that they can attend, whether it's in person or via Zoom. And being able to utilize these resources, offer them a chance not only at being successful and moving forward, but a chance to heal, which is all anybody can really ask for after they've been through something so horrible.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Any questions for that? Dustin?
I heard something about a proclamation.
Yes, sir. I'm Mary Cookson. I'm the victim advocate at ZBAC. Primarily, I serve individuals that are going through just domestic violence situations. So, whereas domestic violence is a widespread preventable public problem impacting all demographics of Kansas, including the city of Ellsworth. And whereas relationships are often countered by straight predators and tragically many were tarnished by one person's feelings of entitlement to power and control over the other, resulting in violence and fear. And whereas domestic violence abusers violate an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity with their intentional systematic use of financial, psychological, sexual, and physical coercive control and abuse. And whereas the U.S. Department of Justice reports domestic violence homicides comprise 14% of all homicides in the U.S., and that women are more than twice as likely as men to be killed by an intimate partner. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation reports 32 domestic violence homicides, or 18.5% of all homicides in Kansas in 2021. And whereas in Kansas in 2021, a domestic violence abuser murdered another person every 11 days, 9 hours, 49 minutes, and 4 seconds. The domestic violence abuser committed a violent act reported to law enforcement every 23 minutes and 16 seconds. And law enforcement made an arrest due to domestic violence every 47 minutes and 22 seconds. And whereas DVAC served 959 victims within our 10 counties, and yet this number does not accurately reflect the total number of domestic violence victims, as many were continuing to struggle against isolation and other impacts of COVID-19. Whereas we, the governing body of Ellsworth, recognize that domestic violence is inconsistent with our county's values and cannot be ignored or tolerated. And whereas in declaring this month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we encourage all citizens to know the facts about domestic violence, to familiarize themselves with resources, to recognize subtle signs of control tactics, to act as safe support systems, to speak up against perpetrators of violence, and any messages that inadvertently condone domestic violence, to get involved, to teach others and prepare future generations for healthy relationships, and to donate time or resources to their local domestic violence agency.
The proclamation hasn't been prepared yet.
No.
No, it has. Well, not prepared like in person on paper for us, but it's Massachusetts.
I'll just go and say it verbally, or do we get? All right, so exactly what is the verbiage you want?
On bottom here, it just says, now therefore we, the Ellsworth City Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 23rd as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Is it in our packet?
No.
Can you share it with me real quick? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
And we've also brought some brochures up to sign those also.
There are brochures on my table in the courthouse too, if you need some, plus Mary's business card.
All right, you're gonna get them a nice copy of this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, without further ado, we, the Ellsworth City Council, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Very good. All right,
You should put that gavel.
hit the gavel.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Can I be in it too? Karen, do you want to be in it? I'm gonna take a picture.
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm at this right, okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you do. You know, for instance,
Thank you, city council, for listening.
Sure.
I did ask Dustin about the possibility of changing the light on the water tower purple in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so he's gonna do some checking to see if that is a feasible possibility.
As of this week, Kelly, when is that company planning to come out?
I have not heard.
Okay, so,
They're sending us new lights.
yes, so, I,
Those costs.
nothing.
Really?
So, Patrick, so to Patrick's credit, he argued and worked with the company that originally installed the lights on the water tower because, because of the personnel changes recently, we didn't have access to them. And so Patrick worked with the company, not only got the right app, worked with our IT folks and argued with theirs for a couple of weeks. And then we got an email, what was it, last week, that after some arguing, he finally got them to come out to replace it. So he did get it to a point where he got the lights to work, but he can't switch colors like you're supposed to. So that's the only downside to honoring that request. So they've agreed to come out and replace them, but we have not gotten a date yet.
So can they bring a purple light out when they come to replace?
I think you'll be able to.
You'll be able to change it, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
just not right now, so I don't know that we'll get them replaced in time, like I told Jessica. But they've at least agreed to come replace their lights for free to make them work.
All right, very good. Okay, department heads, chief, do you have anything?
No, just what's on my, report, I'm sure you see in the report that, Dorian will be returning back to us, and he starts back on the city.
He went to the state police? No,
Patrol.
Yes,
so he went to the highway patrol, he's coming back
yes,
to work.
yes.
That's cool, great. Yeah. And that's a big win for city of Alfred, okay? All right, fire department, not here, reports there for you. City attorney, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Holy cow, it's 10 hours, let's keep it rolling. Oh,
I've got things to do.
wait, isn't there a game tonight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a long way, but.
Yeah. All right, city clerk, do you have anything?
No.
City administrator.
Oh, I'm the bad guy. So I was gone for 2 weeks. And the first trip I made, thanks to council and the citizens for allowing me to go, is to the International City County Management Association's International Conference. It's not every day that it's right down the road, so thank you again for allowing me to go. I wrote you a memorandum at the mayor's request listing 5 things that I've learned, and there's a ton more, but I thought these were important. One is emphasis on collaboration. There's also a lot of talk of regionalism, some of the stuff I've been doing, like the recent application that John and I worked on to submit an application for Safe Streets for All. This is one of many things that I hope to do with our sister cities. As Wayne, you saw, I'm gonna be partnering a lot with our friends in Lions. Just continuing to do these collaborative partnerships and apply for money together. That was a big emphasis. A lot of cities and regions have done that across the country. And it was very reassuring to see that what we're doing is on the right track, especially here in rural United States. I learned that 3% of people or the 3% of our geography is currently is where all of our cities are at. And 84% of the population here in Kansas is trying to cram into our city areas. So that means 97% is rural, and our rural cities like Ellsworth is is a decreasing in population. So we are in, until way to offset that and leverage our resources is to partner with people around this. And hopefully that leveraging those resources will get people to come back. The other thing that I learned is we're a land management entity. And what that means is we manage our zoning codes, we manage our water sewer infrastructure and everything in between. And so it was reassuring to me that you allowing me to stand up the central inspection department with Delvin as the building inspector and the recent regulations that you've allowed me to adopt. And all of that stuff is important pieces in managing our resources and our land. We're also working with, we're also working on updating our zoning maps. And we're gonna continue to present you ordinances that don't make sense and just continue to improve upon that process. And it turns out a lot of the stuff I'm doing and that you've allowed me to do with your approval is what the other successful municipalities are doing. So that made me feel good. I've learned a lot about managing our personnel better. I focused a lot of my time on personnel management and continuing to improve our workplace. I can't always compete with pace, so work environment and how I interact with our staff is an important avenue of how I try to compete for our personnel. Thanks to the strong department heads, and I want to give Chief some credit. It's due to the work environment that we provided that Torkelson came back. And I'm very proud that the work the chief has done in his department, and Callie and I continue to work on recognition programs, improving our HR policies, one of which that you will be getting over the next couple of months. I've got chapter 1 of our personnel management manual that I'm going to be submitting to you for approval. And I'm just going to redo sections of that. That's a big part of what I've learned, that we need to continue to support our staff. Some other things that I've stolen from my education is attaching, when I evaluate our staff, I connect the job description that I've written with their evaluation. And that also means that at least annually, I update their job descriptions along with that to make sure that it's accurate, up to date. And that also adds to how I can support our department heads and our staff to be happy to come to work. Civic engagement, one thing I wanted to ask for council's blessing on tonight is I want to kickstart a citizenship program. That citizenship program, which I've talked to y'all individually about, is I'll offer applications for citizens to fill them out, and then I'll present them to the mayor and council. And y'all will pick certain slots. I'm thinking 10, 15 to start, just as a pilot. But it'll start in January. Once a month, they'll meet with us for about 10 months, and then they'll get a certificate. And then there'll be ambassadors that you can choose from to fill vacancies in our boards and stuff. It's a huge benefit. Sorry, Tyler, I'll try to keep it short. I know you, thank you. But also a citizen, a class for council members is what I'm pitching to y'all. In January, when we have a new cycle with however the elections turn out, I would like to request this council to do a retreat with me on a day, pick a day that we have a day out. We have a day that well, Melissa and I and the league will provide classes, and then I'll give you a tour of our city facilities. I've been wanting to do that individually for a long time. And it seems like it would just be much easier if we did it on a day. But the goal is to make sure that you guys and gals have the information that you need to do your job effectively. And I figured maybe that's where I can do a better job as your administrator, letting you know the resources that are available. The league has multiple resources that you can educate yourself. They got videos, online courses for you. And I'll start sharing that with y'all. So I'm here at your disposal too, if you ever want to talk government. That's what I'm trained in. So, and plus you get a t-shirt by the end of it. A polo shirt. Just little things like that I can do to help you out.
Like a member's only chapter.
But just little things that the ideas and tidbits that they give me that I would like to try here to, to increase civic participation and hopefully increase, I don't know if you'll like this or not, but increase competition for people running for council. You know,
Why do you laugh?
little thing,
I think so. There's a bobblehead over there. I don't know what he's saying about me, but.
I just want to do things to show you that I learned something from the money that you've invested in me. I'm truly appreciative of the opportunities you're choosing to give me. I'm blessed. I am blessed to be here. I'm not joking. People say that a lot these days and it sounds like flattery. I don't know how else to say it, but thank you for allowing me to go. As the last point is made, gratitude and having a possibilities mindset. Knowing that any problem that we have as a community can be overcome if we work together. That's the other message that I got in both the league and the international conference. But I couldn't have done anything I've done this year without you. And so I thank you for your support. I don't take it for granted, and I thank you for the opportunity to represent you to the community.
Appreciate it. Anything else?
I could go on, but I'm.
Okay. Very good. Okay. City council, Tyler, do you have anything?
Nope.
Wayne?
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Yeah, me and Dustin went to the League of Kansas Municipalities Conference this last weekend, and Dustin finished up today as our voting member. Very informative. I mean, it's an interesting opportunity to get to meet people from other communities and share kind of that we're not in this boat alone, that everybody's facing pretty much the same obstacles we are. And get to share some stories and some wins and some losses between us is really interesting. And, you know, we continue to improve our relationship with the city of Lyons. They have a new city administrator, and Justin got to meet him. I've known him for several years. And we also got to meet Officer, what's her name?
Macklemore's mom and
Macklemore,
sister-in-law.
yes.
We got to meet her mom. She's the city clerk for.
Vince Lodge.
Lodge, yes.
Yes, that was really cool. You know, I have, and so it was a good experience, and I encourage everyone to go, take your spouse, the city's gonna pay for a motel room, take a weekend.
What about the kids? What do you do with them?
You can take the kids. But, you know, it's in Wichita again next year, so pick your spouse and kids and send them to the zoo for the day. Yeah, there's, I mean, lots of stuff to do. And, so it's good. I mean, it's always a good experience, and I get to meet lots of new people, and I get to see people that I've known for years, but, so that's a good experience. I had lots of thoughts on the detention basin. I think that I'm glad to see the stuff that came out of the group that met. One reason why I stayed out of that was, as an engineer, I'm very linear thinking. I already think I know the answer of most of those things. So the things that people giggled about is exactly the things I like to see, because I would not have thought of a lot of that stuff. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, we'll see. But I'm glad to see that. I think as it ages a little bit, we're gonna see some different ideas, but, so I was glad to see that. One of the things, I'll talk to Dustin about some other things, ideas, but that's all I have.
Great comments. Karen, do you have anything? No. Jessica?
Yeah, I'm gonna get up on a little soapbox. Not really. Okay, so I am a board member for DVAC. I represent Ellsworth County. So since October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I want to make sure, one, you follow their Facebook page. If you're not already, they have this really cute little pet costume contest, but you don't have to go to Salina. Dress up your pet, take a photo, scan the QR code, or there's a link, I think, on the Facebook page. You can submit your pet in a Halloween costume for the contest. So that's open to everybody in the county. Also, they have a big fundraiser in November called Festival of Trees. And this year they're doing some tree sponsors to kind of get those people that can't donate something big, like a resort or something like that, to help, you know, because the way they're funded is through grants and donations. So I have put on Facebook that we should have an Ellsworth County tree. I've had some local businesses already sponsor or like pledge to sponsor money. Anthony Hopkins, Ellie's Corner, Sykes Drug, she's okay with me saying this, Ellsworth Packing, and then I've got some individual donors too that have agreed. Our goal is $600. I think we're at least halfway there, so if anyone is listening, I would be happy to take your money. And we'll have an Ellsworth County tree because we appreciate, I think we as a county appreciate everything they've done. And like I said earlier, if you ever want any resources, I have them outside my office in the basement of the courthouse, just so they're an easy location for you to quick grab. You don't even have to have a conversation with me. Domestic violence awareness is, I'm gonna get emotional, dear to my heart. So happy to help anybody out of a tough situation. And I missed the last meeting since this is recorded because I had a nephew born on September 25th. If anybody wants to see pictures, I'd be happy to show you after the meeting.
Very good. Anybody else have anything? I have very little. I did want to go into the executive session tonight, but I would rather do it with the full council. I'd rather have Darcy here. I think we'd like to get the wheels moving on the park, and I think that it's just a conversation that's gonna require everybody. So we'll wait. We've got time. We've talked about a Christmas tree too, so maybe we don't need to do one for the city. Maybe we'll just dovetail with the county. You two can get together and talk about what you talked about. We talked about having something from the city hall, why it's been, money that we don't need to, maybe we can collaborate. Yeah, go ahead.
Permission to speak.
Sure.
To add to that, I had on top of our conversation, I talked to Stacy Schmidt. And she was asking what the city wanted to do with Christmas, and I love Christmas, so my personal proposal would be to coincide an event with Stacy's downtown stuff. I was thinking of Christmas tree. We were talking about live tree versus I looked into planting one last year and that was not feasible. But I thought about the metal tree. It's a little more expensive, but it's reusable, and we can do it at a Christmas tree lighting event every year. And to coincide with whatever Stacy wants to do with the downtown vendors. And then I was gonna invite members of council, and thought about inviting our senator, which is another tidbit that I was given today, inviting some of our state legislators. And just making it an event, and maybe you can do a speech, Mayor, or somebody from council, and do a Christmas tree lighting ceremony to coincide with Stacy's event on December 9th, was what she was saying.
I like it. It's a good idea. And I think with that, I don't think I have anything more. I think we're gonna get the park in good shape. I mean, where everybody's gonna be able to just realize what we've been through. And, there's gonna be a lot more acceptance, I think, as we get through the next year or so. But there are gonna be a lot of discussions, a lot of talking to a lot of professionals. And, I think the advisory council did a great job of really doing two things: providing the ideas and kind of batting around those ideas and some of the complications with it. So I think that was very valuable. Plus it provided community input, and that allows us to now make decisions. These folks right here are elected officials. They now can take that input, discuss it, and they're gonna make a decision. We just ask you to accept that decision, that we've been as thorough as we can be. And, I think that it's an opportunity for us as a community to kind of get over something that's kind of been hard, and I think we can do it. So without further ado, I think my comments are finished.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, Councilor Coates has made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilor Johnson has seconded that motion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah.
Because my team's so important.